What if I told you that the reality you perceive is only a fraction of what really exists? That beneath the veil of the everyday, a truth as old as time pulses, a truth we've been conditioned to forget. Imagine a universe where every thought and emotion is a conscious vibration that shapes your existence. Energy is not an abstraction, but the essence of everything, and yes, it can be manipulated. The most disturbing thing, it's already happening, even without us noticing. For eons, the ancient wisdom of those who saw beyond has been jealously guarded and often deliberately veiled. There are hidden mysteries waiting to be rediscovered, principles that promise not only spiritual enlightenment, but a profound inner alchemy, capable of transforming your being from the very roots. What if certain forbidden texts, kept in an eye, shadows, contained the keys to unraveling the mechanics of cosmic energy? What if this truth, once accessible, has been systematically erased because empowering the individual would mean dismantling control? Prepare yourselves, because what we're going to explore today is a map to awakening your energetic sovereignty. A journey that will reveal how energetic manipulation is a palpable reality, and how we can not only protect ourselves, but also consciously use it to shape our own reality. If you resonate with these words, if you're ready to question the unquestionable, I urge you to like this, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss any of these revelations. The veil is lifted. Are you ready to see? Let me delve into the most fundamental of truths. Everything is vibration. Every thought you form, every word you speak, every emotion you experience are energetic waves radiating from your being into the fabric of the universe. Modern science is beginning to pierce the veil of this ancient wisdom, recognizing the unified field, the holographic matrix, where consciousness and matter are two sides of the same energetic coin. But those who truly understand the mechanics of this reality know that this energy not only exists, but can be modulated, redirected, and even co-opted. And herein lies the heart of our enigma. This manipulation is not an esoteric theory, but an everyday practice, subtly woven into the loom of our perception. Let's imagine, for a moment, the resonances that inundate us daily, the subliminal messages in the media, the induced consumption patterns, the invisible frequencies that permeate our cities. All of this is a subtle force field, meticulously designed to shape your vibrational state, to keep you at a frequency that hinders spiritual enlightenment and inner alchemy. Certain ancient symbols, whose origins date back to forgotten civilizations, were used to channel and amplify cosmic energy. But what happens if the knowledge of these hidden mysteries, guarded by select lineages and preserved in forbidden texts, has been perverted? What if the same tools that once served to elevate consciousness are now used to suppress it? History is replete with clues. Think of the ancient mystery schools of Egypt or Greece, where initiates were instructed in the understanding of archetypes and universal laws. These schools are said to have held keys to the vibrational nature of reality and how it could be influenced. After their decline, this knowledge did not disappear, but rather fragmented, was hidden, and in the hands of those seeking control, it was transformed into a tool of power. What ancient wisdom understood as an art of creation mutated into an art of constriction. Symbols, sounds, even the colors we perceive can be used as keys to resonate with certain frequencies, and in doing so, alter our perception, our health, and our very will. The key to unmasking this manipulation lies in frequency discernment, in developing a sensitivity that allows you to sense the true vibration of each thing. The forbidden texts I refer to are not necessarily dusty physical volumes, although some do exist. They are fragments of truth scattered in the collective subconscious, in forgotten symbolism, and the intuitions that society has taught us to ignore. Cosmic energy flows uninterruptedly, and mastery lies not in controlling it, for it is uncontrollable, in its pure essence, but in harmonizing with it, in becoming a conscious conduit. How then do we regain our sovereignty over this tide of invisible influences? This is the true challenge of inner alchemy, the path to a spiritual enlightenment that allows us not only to see the chains, but also to melt them. But before we can free ourselves, we must fully understand the sources and methods of this energetic control. Could it be that your own bodies, your minds, and even your emotions are being used as antennas for this grand design? Could it be that your own bodies, your minds, and even your emotions are being used as antennas for this grand design? The answer, my dear seekers, lies in the profound ancestral wisdom that understood the universe not as a collection of objects, but as a symphony of vibrational frequencies. The ancients, from the Egyptian priests who deciphered celestial hieroglyphics to the Vedic sages who listened to the mantras of the cosmos, understood that the human being is a micro-universe, a fractal replica of the macrocosm, capable of resonating with cosmic energy and therefore shaping its reality. This understanding was not mere philosophical speculation. It was an applied science, an art that allowed us to heal, manifest, and even transcend the limits of ordinary. Perception. Think of the energy centers described in Eastern traditions, the chakras, or the complex network of nadis and meridians that Chinese medicine has mapped with millennia-old precision. These are not abstract concepts. They are maps of your own energetic infrastructure, the biological hardware designed to interact with the subtle flow of the universe. The hidden mysteries of humanity lie not only in what we have been denied, but in what we have been led to forget about our own nature. Why was this truth hidden? Imagine a world where each individual possessed the inner alchemy to transmute their own shadow into light, where spiritual enlightenment was a path open to all, not a privilege of the few. A world where direct connection to cosmic energy granted, a sovereignty that would invalidate any attempt at external control. The forbidden texts, those purged from the great libraries of Alexandria or ancient Nalanda, were not just volumes of mystical knowledge. They were manuals of power, guides to self-realization that would dismantle the structures of domination. This was a systematic suppression, not just of scrolls, but of a way of seeing and existing. Those who would profit from your ignorance could not allow humanity to remember its inherent divinity and its ability to manipulate the frequencies of existence. Think of the archetypal symbols that still resonate in our collective unconscious, the fables and myths that seem like mere tales, but in essence encode vibrational principles. The story of the Tower of Babel, not as a divine punishment, but as an intentional fragmentation of consciousness and language to prevent unification and collective resonance. The key to deciphering these hidden mysteries lies not in searching for a lost book, but in recalibrating your own internal antenna, your intuition, your capacity for vibrational discernment. But who are those who orchestrated this veiled, silent frequency war, and how did they manage to embed their distortion programs so deeply into the fabric of our reality? They, my dear seekers, are not always flesh and blood entities with names and surnames. They are often archetypes of a system, a web of ideologies and power structures that have mutated over the eons. Their goal is to keep you disconnected from your source of intrinsic power, from that ancestral wisdom that resides deep within your being. They have understood that access to spiritual enlightenment not only liberates you, but also makes you uncontrollable. Therefore, their main strategy has been to saturate your perception, flood your consciousness with noise, trivial distractions, manufactured conflicts, and unfounded fears. Think of the incessant torrent of information you receive every day, the avalanche of news competing for your attention, the social media that traps you in cycles of external validation. All of this is sophisticated machinery designed to disperse your cosmic energy, to fragment your focus, and ultimately to drain your energetic vitality. Now imagine that your attention is a coin of pure gold. These forces have created a vast market, where you are persuaded to spend that currency on goods and services that do not nourish your spirit, on dramas and anxieties that leave you exhausted. This is no coincidence. It is meticulously planned social engineering. The forbidden texts, those that spoke of inner alchemy, of the transmutation of personal energy to reach higher states of consciousness, were branded as heresies, their authors persecuted, their temples destroyed. Why? Because inner alchemy leads to self-mastery, and a master of oneself cannot be enslaved or manipulated by fear or desire. The hidden mysteries are not esoteric because of their complexity, but because they have been actively veiled by those who benefit from your energetic ignorance, not the grand historical narratives. The accepted truths are often carefully crafted, constructs designed to keep you in a certain state of perception. Consider how modern science, despite its achievements, often dismisses the intangible, the spiritual, the vibrational, labeling it as superstition. This dichotomy is functional for control. If you are convinced that the only real thing is the material and the measurable, you will never seek the keys to your own internal universe where true power resides. You are taught to look outward for saviors, gurus, systems that tell you what to think, how to live, when to consume. Meanwhile, the true inner alchemy, that which transforms the lead of your limitations into the gold of your divinity, remains. Inaccessible, a secret kept in plain sight. But how can one begin to discern these layers of illusion and reclaim one's energetic sovereignty? What practices or states of consciousness allow one to break this cycle of drain and control? The key, my dears, lies in discerning the invisible that manifests itself in your most intimate sensations. Have you ever noticed how certain places, certain people, can drain your vitality, leaving you with an emptiness, an inexplicable weariness? Or, conversely, how other spaces, other presences, can infuse you with renewed vigor, a clarity that elevates the spirit? This is no coincidence, but the very dance of cosmic energy in action, the flow or blockage of vital energy. The ancient wisdom, present in the hidden mysteries of lost civilizations, was not mere superstition when it spoke of places of power, or individuals with gifts or curses. They knew the subtle weave of telluric and celestial currents. Think of Gothic cathedrals, megalithic monuments like Stonehenge, or the Egyptian pyramids. They were not built haphazardly, but erected on energetic vortices, designed with a geometric precision that resonates with universal harmony. The intention was, and still is, to amplify vital energy, to create a field of spiritual enlightenment that could elevate the consciousness of those present. The opposite was also known. Prisons, dungeons, and places of torment were designed, consciously or unconsciously, to suppress, to drain life force and break the spirit. And what about human beings? Herein lies one of the most disturbing and liberating hidden mysteries. There are those who, without malicious intent, simply resonate at a frequency of scarcity, and their presence, like a subtle black hole, absorbs the light around them. Others, like the sun, radiate, sharing their life essence, elevating all. The forbidden texts of various traditions, such as the Cathar manuscripts or certain Gnostic writings, describe the importance of protecting one's energy field, of avoiding vibrational contamination. It's not about isolation, but about discernment. It's about the inner alchemy of recognizing what nourishes you and what diminishes you. Your own vital energy is a treasure, and like all treasures, it needs to be protected. When you feel drained after an encounter, it's not just mental fatigue. It's an imbalance in your vibratory essence. When you feel invigorated, it's because there's been a harmonious exchange, an increase. This is the core of energy sovereignty. It's not a theory, it's a tangible experience. How then can we not only perceive these flows and drains, but also learn to manage our own cosmic energy, transmuting negative influences and amplifying positive ones, becoming masters of our own vibrational field, and not merely passive receivers? And what is the role of the mind and emotions in this intricate process? Here, my dear seekers, we come to the threshold of a revelation that can dismantle your most deeply held notions about reality. Ancient wisdom, echoing through the centuries. In traditions as diverse as the Hermetic traditions of ancient Egypt and the Vedantas of India, whispers a fundamental principle. All is mind. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is the basis of all manifested existence. Consider this. If all is mind, then the reality you perceive is not a solid, immutable structure outside of you, but a projection, a vibrational construct of the universal mind, of which your own mind is a spark, a fragment. This idea, one of the most profound hidden mysteries, reverses conventional perception. You are not a body with a mind, but a mind with a body. And this mind, this mental essence, is not static. It vibrates. Everything vibrates. From the densest rocks to the most subtle thoughts, everything is in a state of constant movement, of frequency. Your thoughts and emotions are not mere internal events, they are energies. Every idea you cultivate, every feeling you allow to flourish or wither within your being, emits a specific vibration into the field of cosmic energy. It's as if your mind were a powerful transmitter, and the universe a vast receiver. What you send out, fear or love, scarcity or abundance, illness or health, is, in essence, what is tuned in and reflected back into your physical reality. The forbidden texts, such as Ptolemy's fragments or certain medieval alchemical writings, that spoke of the philosopher's stone, not just as something material, but as a transmuted state of consciousness, have always alluded to this truth. True inner alchemy is not about transforming lead into physical gold, but rather the base, the lower emotions and thoughts, into states of higher vibrational gold. It is mastery of the mind that allows you to redefine your reality. Spiritual enlightenment, in this context, is not just a flash of understanding, but a deep and continuous attunement of your mental frequency to that of the universal mind. It is when you realize that you are the co-creators of your own experience, not passive victims. But if we are so powerful in our ability to shape reality with our minds, why does suffering persist? And how exactly can we consciously align our vibrations, navigating the veils of illusion to manifest an existence of purpose and fulfillment? This is the next threshold to be crossed. Suffering persists, my dear traveler, because although you are co-creators, your mental screen is constantly bombarded and rewritten, not by distant mystical forces, but by the most mundane and insidious of influences, daily energetic programming. Consider the relentless stream of news. Every headline, every image of disaster or conflict is not merely information. It is a powerful vibrational code. Fear, anxiety, and the division it instills in the collective psyche activate specific frequencies within your cosmic energy, pulling you into a state of perpetual reactivity. Ancient wisdom, present in Egyptian scrolls and Sumerian annals, that spoke of the purity of the gaze and the silence of the mind as shields, always warned against excessive exposure to narratives of chaos and fragmentation. They knew that the mind is inexorably shaped by what it consumes, and that inner peace begins with discerning the seeds that are allowed to germinate in your mental soil. And in the depths of your digital age, algorithms operate like invisible sorcerers, whispering thought patterns into your minds, not aloud, but through conditioning, repetition, and reinforcement. They don't give you what, in your deepest being, would nourish you, but what keeps you engaged, often what reinforces your fears or prejudices, or traps you in bubbles of limited resonance. This is one of the most insidious hidden mysteries of modernity, the subtle, inverted inner alchemy, where the gold of your mental sovereignty is methodically transmuted into the lead of conformity and reactivity through the manipulation of your focus and attention. Many forbidden texts, whose pages were burned or hidden, alluded to this kind of subliminal mass control, describing it as a technological veil of Maya. Even seemingly innocent, everyday conversations weave an energetic tapestry that can imprison or liberate. Gossip, collective lamentation, the incessant repetition of narratives of scarcity or powerlessness. Every word carries a vibrational charge. Every shared emotion reinforces a field. You absorb, often without realizing it, the frequencies of those with whom you interact, and these intermingle with and redefine your own. The true hidden mysteries of human communication reside not only in the words spoken, but in the intention and energy that permeate them, creating fields of resonance that can obscure your spiritual enlightenment, preventing you from seeing beyond. The programmed collective consensus dot. It's a subtle web, my friends, this daily programming. You think you choose your thoughts, but often you are merely reverberating seed frequencies that have been implanted within you. Recognizing this is the first and most crucial step toward true freedom. But how do the invisible knots of this web unravel? How do you reprogram your own being once you realize the extent of this silent influence and restore the purity of your own vibrational signature so that it resonates with the true cosmic energy of creation? This is the next challenge, the next revelation that awaits those who dare to look beyond the obvious. Well, the answer, my dears, does not reside solely in ancient esoteric texts, but resonates in the most sacred halls of modern science, in what we call quantum physics. Imagine, for a moment, the simple demonstration of the double-slit experiment. Subatomic particles that behave like waves until the instant they are observed, then collapse into defined matter. This is no mere laboratory anomaly, my friends. It is the purest, most crystalline evidence that consciousness is not a mere passive spectator of the universe, but an active participant in the co-creation of reality. This is ancient wisdom, rediscovered through a new language, echoing the hidden mysteries that Egyptian priests and Siberian shamans whispered in secret. The ability to shape the quantum field with the focus of intention, to infuse form into pure energy, is inherent in each of you. It is your divine inheritance, a pure fragment of the cosmic energy that pulsates at the core of all existence. However, this innate ability can be suppressed, lulled to sleep by an incessant bombardment of information that tells you you are powerless, that reality is fixed, that there is nothing beyond what the physical eyes can see or the hands can touch. Consider the forbidden texts, those burned and rewritten over the ages. What did they contain that was so threatening to power structures? They revealed that the source of authority lies not in thrones or external dogmas, but in the intrinsic capacity of human beings to transmute reality itself. That true inner alchemy is not the transmutation of metals, but mastery over one's own consciousness and the matter it perceives and creates. The ancient mystery schools, from the temples of Serapis to the hidden chapels in the Himalayas, were dedicated to awakening and refining this power. These were not teachings of magic in the vulgar sense, but of a profound understanding of the vibrational laws that govern manifestation. The denial and suppression of this truth were not accidental. They are part of a complex arrangement aimed at keeping humanity in a state of limited spiritual enlightenment, where perception is constricted and the capacity for co-creation is denied and ridiculed as mere fantasy. But what happens when many begin to awaken to this truth? When the veil of Maya begins to fray not only through technology, but through the individual's own rediscovery of this power? The journey to unravel these hidden mysteries and reclaim one's full inner alchemy is the most challenging and, paradoxically, the most liberating. But there is a step beyond recognizing this power, a step that involves deciphering the symbols that permeate our existence, keys to open portals to even deeper realities. What are these symbols, and how do they connect to the tapestry of your own consciousness? This, my friends, is a revelation that awaits those who have the courage to look deeper. What are these symbols, and how do they connect to the tapestry of your own consciousness? This, my friends, is a revelation that awaits those who have the courage to look deeper. Well then, let us delve into the realm of ancestral protection practices, a chapter of ancient wisdom that modernity, in its vain arrogance, has chosen to ridicule or forget. Civilizations of the past Egyptians, Celts, Vedic peoples understood the universe as a vibrational symphony. They knew that every being, thought, and emotion possesses an energetic signature. They did not live in the vibrational blindness of today. For them, maintaining the purity of the personal and environmental energy field was not superstition, but a subtle and vital science for health and spiritual enlightenment, a facet of inner alchemy. How did they do it? Through tools that today seem like mere rituals. Mantras, for example, they are not just words, but sound vehicles that, with intention, generate frequencies capable of restructuring fields and dissipating dissonances. Symbols and sacred geometry were not artistic inventions, but diagrams of force, archetypal representations of cosmic energy. The Ankh, mandalas, the flower of life, each line and proportion, was designed to act as a portal, an energy capacitor. They cleansed, protected, and harmonized, resonating with the primordial patterns of creation, serving as shields that purified the environment and the individual from unwanted influences, aligning them with higher frequencies. Do you believe such knowledge was simply lost? Or were they part of the hidden mysteries that became forbidden texts, precisely because they granted too much power to the individual? If humanity had maintained mastery of these practices, wouldn't it be much more difficult to control, to confine to a state of limited perception? The truth is that the ability to purify one's energy field, to shield oneself from toxic vibrations, and attract harmony, is the first step toward fully awakening your own divinity. Those who hold power do not wish each of you to be a master alchemist of your own reality. But what happens when these veils of oblivion begin to be lifted? When does the knowledge of how to manipulate one's energy and environment resurface from? The ashes of time, from what was deliberately erased? This is the question I invite you to ponder as we prepare to unveil the next secrets. Now, prepare to enter the realms of ancient wisdom, a knowledge so profound that it transcends borders and eras. If ancient civilizations understood external energy, what can I tell you about the invisible web that sustains your very existence? What in distant lands of the East was called prana, chi, or ki was not just a vital breath, but the very river of life that flows within your being, and which ancient cultures knew how to map and manipulate. In ancient India, rishis and yogis, in their search for spiritual enlightenment, mapped intricate energy centers, the chakras, and subtle channels, the nadis. These are not mere anatomical points, but energetic vortices that connect the physical body to the etheric body, serving as transforming stations of cosmic energy. The rising of the Kundalini, this serpent dormant at your base, was and still is the living metaphor for inner alchemy, the process of awakening and purifying each of these centers, transmuting raw energy into divine consciousness. Vedic and Tantric texts, many of which today are considered hidden mysteries or even forbidden texts for the general public, describe with surgical precision the human energetic anatomy, revealing methods for achieving states of expanded consciousness and mastery over one's own reality. It was knowledge for the few willing to delve into the depths of their own being. In the Far East, in ancient China, the understanding of Qi Kai permeated every aspect of life and philosophy. For Taoist sages, Qi was not merely an internal energy, but the universal life force that animates everything, from mountains and rivers to the smallest insect. They developed a complex system of meridians, invisible channels that snake throughout the body, through which qi flows. Traditional Chinese medicine, along with acupuncture and qigong, are not mere therapies, but ancient practices that aim to harmonize the flow of qi, remove blockages, and strengthen the energetic body, ensuring longevity, health, and mental balance. They understood that disease was not a failure of the isolated physical body, but an interruption in the vital flow of cosmic energy, a disharmony in the human micro-universe that was reflected in the macro-universe. And in ancient Egypt, the worldview was equally profound and guided by an understanding of energy. For them, the Ka and Ba were not merely aspects of the soul, but manifestations of the life force that could be channeled and projected. Temples and pyramids, with their sacred geometries and precise celestial alignments, were not merely tombs or places of worship, but energy machines designed to capture and amplify cosmic energy, channeling it for specific purposes, be it healing, protection, or spiritual transmutation. Egyptian priests mastered complex rituals and the ancient wisdom of manipulating these currents, infusing objects and spaces with power, using glyphs and symbols as energy activators in a form of inner and outer alchemy. They believed that by aligning themselves with the divine flow of the Netter, the primordial cosmic energy, the pharaoh and his people could maintain Ma'at, the cosmic order on earth. Do you perceive the tapestry that unfolds? Despite superficial differences, all these cultures pointed to a unified truth: the existence of an energetic body, interconnected with cosmic energy, capable of being mapped, purified, and activated for spiritual enlightenment and inner alchemy. But why has this knowledge, once so central, become hidden mysteries or relegated to forbidden texts, considered superstition by many today? Could true power lie in unlocking the secrets of your own energetic makeup? And more importantly, how? Can these ancient understandings guide us in navigating the chaos of the modern world, when the very fabric of reality seems to be unraveling? It is to this revelation that the next door will open. The door that has now opened leads us to a dark corridor of history, where the light of ancient wisdom was intentionally obscured. Why was this knowledge, once so vital, turned into hidden mysteries or relegated to forbidden texts? The answer is as simple as it is disturbing: control. Think of the Library of Alexandria, not as a mere repository, but a vortex of knowledge where cosmic energy was studied, inner alchemy deciphered, and spiritual enlightenment accessible. When its flames devoured millennia of records, it was no accident. It was a deliberate act of suppression, a surgical cut into the collective memory. Ask yourselves what was lost. Scrolls detailing the human energy system, vibrational healing techniques, cosmogonies of the true nature of the cosmos. This knowledge turned to ash, but suppression was not limited to physical destruction. Consider the beginnings of the great institutionalized religions. The early church, seeking doctrinal uniformity, condemned countless gospels and texts that spoke of gnosis, of direct and personal knowledge of God without intermediaries. The Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in the 20th century, are a tiny sample of what was heresy. Visions that inner alchemy was a real practice of transmutation, and spiritual enlightenment an individual journey. Many of these became forbidden texts, whose reading was punished. The Council of Nicaea in 325 AD and subsequent centuries were landmarks of coercive standardization. The ancient wisdom that connected the individual directly to cosmic energy, promoting spiritual autonomy, was replaced by dogmas that demanded obedience. Why such an effort? Because a population that understands its own inner alchemy, that accesses spiritual enlightenment without mediators, that recognizes its inherent connection to cosmic energy, is impossible to control. The hidden mysteries were created not by complexity, but by the intention of keeping them from the masses. Truth liberates, and power fears freedom. This concealment, this rewriting of history and human nature, has shaped the reality we inhabit. It has distanced us from our essence. But what if I told you that the seeds of this ancient wisdom were never eradicated? What if the remnants of these forbidden texts These keys to spiritual enlightenment still exist, encoded, waiting to be rediscovered. What can these hidden mysteries reveal about the deepest truth of our existence? True inner alchemy lies in awakening the ancient wisdom that resides within each of us, unraveling hidden mysteries. It's time to seek our own spiritual enlightenment, reconnecting with cosmic energy to transcend the forbidden texts of the mind. The truth is not hidden. It awaits rediscovery by those who dare to look within. What do you believe humanity has lost by moving away from this truth? Leave your comment, share this message, and subscribe for more journeys. To learn more, watch our video on the law of attraction and the power of manifestation.